What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman. Coming up on today's show, we got a fun one for you guys, as apparently the New York Knicks have some interest in Billy Donovan. We'll break that down, and then also on the later half of today's show, we'll talk about 5 draft targets for the Chicago Bulls, with them having the 12th pick in the draft. Kind of want to go over some different names we haven't talked about on previous shows over the last couple of weeks. But before we do so, if you guys could hit that subscribe button today. We're closing in on 12,000 subs here on the channel. So if you guys have not already, please go down there, hit that subscribe button. We will keep you guys posted with free agency, the NBA draft, the summertime in the NBA is going to get really hectic over the next couple of weeks. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. We'll keep you guys posted on all of the latest news around your Chicago Bulls. But the news that dropped yesterday was a bombshell report from K.C. Johnson saying the Knicks requested permission to speak to Billy Donovan for their coaching vacancy, but were denied. The Bulls value Donovan highly for his coaching acumen, communication skills, and ability to connect with players and all members of the organization. Now, immediately when I saw this, and honestly, the fact that the Bulls denied this request from the New York Knicks is just the Bulls being the Bulls. Like, clearly they have some just love for Billy Donovan. I don't know if he's blackmailing this organization or something, but he seems like his job is untouchable. Like, his seat is not even warm whatsoever. They clearly view him as a guy that could maybe spark this rebuild, this retool of the roster. But then again, knowing the Bulls, that won't end up being the case. And they're perfectly fine with Billy Donovan just leading this team to 3 straight play-in tournament appearances. Now, I will say, I don't think Billy Donovan is the sole issue on why the Bulls have not been successful the last couple of years. But the fact that you could have maybe gotten draft capital, that's the part that bothers me, because I don't think Billy Donovan is untouchable whatsoever. Like, I think he is a solid coach in the NBA. Is he, great? Absolutely not. Is he bad? Also absolutely not. But the fact that maybe you could have gotten a second-round pick for Billy Donovan and just hired another coach and kind of reset, I think that is just a crime that the Bulls at least didn't entertain that idea, or at least just let Billy go talk to the Knicks. Like, I'm sure Billy Donovan would much rather be coaching the Knicks over the Chicago Bulls. And it sounds like the Bulls have been successful with Billy. They're 195 and 205 under Billy Donovan. He is the 3rd longest tenured head coach. Think about that. For a Bulls team who has never sniffed any sort of playoff success, this guy's job feels untouchable. It's only Steve Kerr and Spo who have been with the organizations longer than Billy Donovan. I don't know what he has on this organization. If he's got, any inside info, I don't know what it is, but honestly, my question to the Bulls is, frankly, who do you think you are? I mean, we've seen the Knicks reach out to the Rockets for Ime. That makes sense. Jason Kidd, they hit up Quinn Snyder. They've been hitting up, even Finch for the Timberwolves. They've been hitting up these elite head coaches in the NBA, and the Bulls, like, the fact that the Knicks at least even offered to take Billy Donovan off your hands potentially, and you didn't entertain it, I think it's a crime. And also, when was the last right move that the Bulls front office has made? Legitimately. Was it the Caruso-Giddey trade? I guess you can maybe make that argument, but the Patrick Williams contract was terrible. I think their lack of just assets they got back for DeRozan and Levine, refusing to move off those guys a year, after, or a year before they should have, even just Vooch still somehow being on the roster. Like, really, when was the last move? I want to give him credit for Modest Buzelis, but he kind of fell in your lap. Like, if you didn't take him, that would have been incredibly concerning. But I promise you, the next move the Bulls make is going to be overpaying for Josh Giddey, and I got a lot of thoughts on that. We'll have to probably do a full video on just the whole Josh Giddey thing, but the Bulls front office, they just haven't done anything right over the last couple of years, and this is just another move where I'm just scratching my head and just saying, you guys could have gotten a second-round pick potentially for Billy Donovan. You just think you're too good to give him up. You think you've been successful the last couple of years where it's like, oh, there's no way we can let go of Billy. What are we going to do if we don't make the play-in tournament? Like, it's just a joke. So was this a mistake by the Chicago Bulls? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down below in the comment section. All right, I do want to shift the attention of today's show to the NBA draft. And I'm just going to go over 5 draft targets for the Bulls. A couple of guys that we really haven't talked about just yet, but a couple of these guys are rising late here as the draft approaches in the next couple of weeks. And that one of those guys being Drake Powell, North Carolina guard forward, 6'6", got a great already NBA body for a guy that's 19 years old. And I don't know if it was just because Benedict Mathurin was going off in the finals yesterday, but he kind of reminds me of him. A very physical guy, great defender. He's got decent ball handling ability, but Kevin O'Connor, draft analyst, had this to say on Powell, saying Powell has a chiseled frame that he uses to barrel into defenders at the rim and to contain opponents when he's on defense. He's a switch everything defender who plays with a high motor. And if his spot up jumper translate, he checks all the boxes to be a 3-and-D role player at a minimum. And I agree with that. And some comparisons Kevin O'Connor gave for Powell was Mikal Bridges and Isaac Okoro. I actually agree with that. I see a little more Okoro in his game than Bridges. I don't know if he has that midi bag that Bridges does, but in terms of a guy like Okoro being elite defender day one, I think it would be a pretty knockdown shooter from the corners. I think he shot 50 and 40% from both the corners this past season as a freshman at North Carolina. But also, if you go look at his tape, he played a very limited role for the Tar Heels. So maybe there's some untapped potential in this game that we didn't see in previous years. But he's a guy, even though be a little rich at pick number 12, I actually wouldn't hate that selection for the Bulls whatsoever. And another guy I really wouldn't hate this, even though it would be reaching a tad, is Nique Clifford, Colorado State forward. This guy, big body. I like his overall wherewithal when he's out there on the basketball floor. But, he can, obviously has a high basketball IQ. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife. He's also an elite playmaker as well. And, a guy like Nique Clifford, like if you're just looking at needs on the Bulls roster, I would like to have another forward in there next to, Modest Buzelis. If those are the two that you're kind of rolling with for the near future, obviously the Bulls do need a need at center. But let's just say Derik Queen, Malwatch go before that. Maybe Nique Clifford makes some sense. But this is what Kevin O'Connor had to say on him, saying Clifford is a tough-as-nails wing who does it all. He defends multiple positions, crashes the board, and scores from everywhere. But as a super senior with only Mountain West pedigree, he lacks experience against high-level competition despite his age, which is very true. And Kevin O'Connor gave some comparisons for him. He threw out a Chris Middleton, a Josh Hart, a Desmond Bane. Now, all of these guys, mainly Hart and Bane, very physical players, which obviously Nique has that spot. But also his offensive game, maybe he does have a little Chris Middleton in him if he ends up reaching that, prime potential. But I think it would be an interesting option at pick 12. A little rich, but it wouldn't be a crash out by any means if the Bulls took him. And, my favorite draft target still is Derik Queen, Maryland center. The more I watch this guy, the more I just start falling in love with his game. Now, he is not a athlete whatsoever. Honestly, he's a subpar athlete, but his skill level is extremely, extremely high. Like, his combination of size, speed. He's a great horizontal athlete. He's not a great vertical athlete, but moving side to side, I feel like he's got an insanely quick first step for his size. And he does get, DeMarcus Cousins comps. He gets a little Alperen Şengün comparisons. Sometimes Baby Jokic, if you're really trying to be, or if you're really trying to, think about who his max potential could be. But he's still my favorite draft prospect as it stands right now. If he's on the board at 12, I think you just kind of close your eyes, wish for the best, and draft Derik Queen. But let's just say he's off the board, and the Bulls still want to go center. Thomas Sorber has been a guy that has gotten some recent draft buzz. Now, I don't view Sorber as, elite vertical athlete. I don't know if he has the quickest second jump, which, you would prefer at the center position, but he's a very physical guy, and he's just got a great frame on him. This is what O'Connor had to say, saying Sorber has a brick house frame and the throwback skill set to match with strong screens, soft touch finishes, and gritty drop coverage instincts. But to be more than a role player, he needs to tap into the flashes he's shown as a shooter, while also improving his perimeter defense. Now, two comparisons he had was Valanciunas and Nurkic, and I see it. Like, being very physical guys who can just take up space, just clear pass for easy rebounds. And, I definitely would be intrigued in a guy like Sorber because you got to think about the center position, life after Vooch, a strong screen setter for Giddey. I don't know if he would, make sense if the Bulls are trying to, buy into Giddey's pace of play, if Sorber would make the ideal fit at the center spot, but we'll see. I would be a fan of him. Now, again, pick number 12, a little rich for Thomas Sorber, but still wouldn't hate that pick at all. And another guy that's kind of been mocked all over the board is Liam McNeeley, forward from UConn. Now, this guy was a highly touted recruit coming out of high school. He was a 5-star. He was supposed to be big time for UConn, and, he's a dead-eye shooter. That's a part about his game that I think will automatically translate to the next level, is him just being able to shoot the ball. Now, will he be able to defend? I think he has the heart and he has the want to be a defender, and he does have decent size, but I could see him getting picked on a whole lot at the next level. And O'Connor said this: McNeeley is a sharp-shooting wing with superb instincts moving with the ball and the touch to splash from deep ranges. Though he doesn't project as a primary shot creator, his feel as a connective passer gives him the skill to fit into any type of offense. And I do really agree with that. Like, I feel like McNeeley's a guy you can just drop into any offense and he will, up their level of play. And two comparisons were Keegan Moore and Corey Kispert. Now, I think he's got more off the bounce game than both of these guys. Now, I think with McNeeley, if he could somehow get an elite mid-range game where he just gets those bump fades, those, get just a inch of separation, he can rise up and hit a jump shot. I would have, extreme interest in him if he can develop that. But I think it would be a good shooter right away. And I would kind of like the combination of McNeeley and Buzelis at the forward spot and the wing spot for the Bulls moving forward. But you guys let me know. Make the pick for me. Who do you want the Bulls to draft? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. And hit that subscribe button on your way out. See you guys next time. As always, go Bulls.